So today we're going to do an unbooking.
Unbooking!
Kind of like a book review, but more like an unboxing. Not really going to get into it a lot, just crack it open, show you what's in the crack and keep going. We got a good book for you today, don't we, Polly?
Uh-huh.
Have you read this book, Polly?
Nope. Caught up on the start with why. I was trying to figure out why I should read this book.
So we're going to do a book today by author Simon Sinek. Sinek?
Sinek.
All right. It's a great book. Love the book. If you're watching, maybe you've read it too. If not, I'm going to tell you why you should read it. Or not, but you should, because it was a good book. Simon Sinek says on his website, which is probably a reliable source, that he is an unshakable optimist, which I can appreciate because I am not all of the time. I first heard of Simon Sinek through his TED Talk that he did about the concept of why. Have you seen that, Paulie? You have seen that? So you don't read, but you watch videos?
I do.
Okay,
And
good.
I listen to audiobooks.
Everything but reading is what
Someone
Paulie
reads
does.
to me.
So he's written a few good books. Leaders Eat Last is another one that we'll probably cover one day. I read that one. The Infinite Game, I have not read yet. And then the book that we're doing today, give it to me. Start with Why. I'm going to be honest. I loved it. I was kind of doing some research kind of leading up to today because I read this, let's see, I completed it April 26, 2017. So I was doing a little bit of research trying to refresh on this book. And
Did you sign it so you know you read it and not somebody else?
every time I read a book, I write the date I completed it, where I was when I completed it, and then I just sign it. I don't know why I sign it. Actually, I know why, because my dad did that, and I have some of his old books, and he signed them. So that's, my dad started this. I was surprised because as I was researching for this book, I noticed that there's a certain type of person that thinks Simon Sinek is kind of full of crap, I guess.
So is there a Simon Sinek?
Hey, I guess I could see why people kind of get that vibe reading the books, but I really do have to say that everything that I've seen and read from him is, I think, extremely valuable. I really do. This book was one of 4 or 5 books that I've read that as I was reading it, I was blown away and so inspired. And it was like I knew what I was going to read next. Like, it didn't feel like anything was extremely groundbreaking, revelational wisdom that he just had that nobody else has had. But it's like I knew what was coming the second I opened the book, and I just couldn't stop. Very inspiring book, and really challenged me when I read it. And even now, over 2 years on from reading it, has really challenged me to think about why I do things in my life and what's the purpose behind anything. My favorite quote, oh man, this is good. This is so good.
Is it going to make me want to read it?
I don't know. You don't read, so probably not. I highlighted a lot of stuff in this book. When I went back through, I read every highlight, and this was the one that was yes. He says, average companies give their people something to work on. In contrast, the most innovative organizations give their people something to work toward. This book is just chock full of things like that. And it seems like, I could see why somebody would read these statements and be like, oh, wow, fortune cookie wisdom or something. But man, it's really being a leader and having to put teams of people together. Something like that is so challenging to say, okay, you can tell people work on this project. But if you can cast a vision and say the reason all of these projects are being worked on is because of that, it completely changes the culture and the vibe among the team. That's money in the bank. Now it's time for a little thing we like to call. So this is simple. Just gonna flip it, stop it on a page, and read a random highlight and see what happens. Here we go. Page 104, just a few pages away from the last one we read. Only when individuals can trust the culture only
is written in secret.
only when individuals can trust the culture or organization will they take personal risk in order to advance that culture or organization as a whole. why would you really invest in something that you don't think is real or is going to last? When individuals trust an organization, they'll take personal risks in order to advance the organization. All right, that was all right. Nothing crazy. The main takeaways from this book, from a leadership perspective, the whole thing is how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. He basically says that there's two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate people or you can inspire them. And he talks about the difference. And I'm not going to get into all that because this is just an unbooking, right? The main difference between those is you can manipulate people and get them to do things. Or the much better way, and the way that's more sustainable and a lot more enjoyable, is to inspire people. He talks a lot about leaders having the ability to share a vision. And when you share a vision with people, again, if you give them something to work towards, they're a lot more inspired to do things. And it's not just guilt tripping people or being sly or just manipulating your way into getting people to act. He mentions in the book that you do have to actively remind people why they're doing something. Otherwise, it just becomes the mundane. People have to be reminded that there is a why behind the what and behind the how. And that's actually another thing that he says, that there's some people that are really good why people. By the way, the why, I believe he defines as the cause or belief behind something. You know, if you're going to start a business, he's saying start with a really core belief or a cause. Not just, okay, what the business is. It's a restaurant. How the business is going to run. We're going to order food and cook it and give it to people. What Simon Sinek is saying is, okay, before you get there, why do you want to do a restaurant in the first place? Are you passionate about giving people an experience, a culinary experience that they enjoy and that brightens their day? That's a good way to start, not just, I want to make a restaurant, I'm going to cook food and give it to people. And I think when you think that way, you've been places and sat at the table and been like, that's all that's happening. They're just cooking food and giving it to me.
But why can't be there's no Italian restaurant in this town?
Maybe that is a why, but that's not very inspiring. So that's it? You're just making an Italian restaurant because there's not another one? How far is that going to take people? And is that something really great to work towards? Because what about, okay, you made the restaurant. Now what are you working towards? Are you done? Is that it? I think his response to that would be, it would have to be something that is sustainable and in the long run. It's not just, okay, we did it and it's over. It's something that constantly you're working towards. Something that people want to be a part of. They want to be a part of winning teams, things like that. Why am I doing this at all is really it. Anybody that leads a team or wants to start a business or is working with people, I think this book could be of real value to them. Read it or beat it. Definitely a read it. Paulie, get off of YouTube. Get off of your audiobooks. Read this thing.
Can I take home?
No. Simon Sinek, Start With Why, read it. If you've read any of these books, let us know about it. Seriously, if I messed up the explanation, if you could have done this better than me, then go ahead and do it in the comments. Subscribe, click the little bell thingy. Let's have a good time. Really want to hear from you. And what books do you want to see unbooked? Let me know. Hit us up. Here's your mug.